Welcome to today's Token Spaces event. My name is Matthew Walsh and I'll be your host for the event. On today's Spaces, we have Vladimir Emrig from the Token Management team. So now I'm going to hand you over to Vlad to introduce himself.
Thank you, Matthew. So it's great to be on the show. Good afternoon, everybody. Goedemiddag to all my fellow Dutchmen. I'm happy to finally be able to answer all your questions about the token. We have been working hard behind the scenes with the whole team. So let's begin, guys. Matthew,
Thank you, Vladimir. Thank you, Vladimir. Now, without further ado, let's begin with the questions. Our first question is from the user called Dreamcast. Vlad, could you provide an overview of the whole tokenomics model?
Yes, of course. Okay, guys. So MNT is a capped supply token. Only 500 million will ever be minted, and all will have been released after 60 months from the time we launch on an exchange. 62.5 million MNT have been made available to general release via the public and private rounds. All other MNT will be released algorithmically every month over the next 60-month period mentioned earlier. This includes the Minos Network team, so there is no possibility of anyone exiting early. We're all here for the long run. 47.5% of tokens have been set aside for network expansion activities to support exponential growth of users, traffic, and exchange listings. So now let's talk about the rewards. The source of rewards is the net revenue generated by Minos Network. All net revenues are converted via a smart contract into MNTs and redistributed to the key network participants, Minos Network, network users, and node stakers. Each group is rewarded for the work they do. Minos Network, who maintain and build the network technologies, receives 15% of the total rewards to support ongoing development work. Network users, the people who make and receive calls over the network, share from a pool of 25% of all rewards. Node stakers will share from a pool of 60%. Node holders are rewarded for staking switch and validation nodes that provision the capacity and the security of the network. The node holder rewards are subject to an algorithmic burn, which reduces the total node holder rewards in proportion to the percentage MNT which are staked at each moment of reward distribution. The higher the percentage MNTs staked, the higher the proportion of the node holders' reward pool issued as rewards, and the lower the burn. All burned MNT are removed from the total circulating supply. So a couple of points here. Any unclaimed user rewards and any unallocated tokens released to the network expansion pool are excluded from the calculation of the total circulating supply when determining the burn to be applied. Rewards are then issued to node stakers based on pro rata basis relative to the MNT staked. There are only 500 switch nodes which can be staked for 50,000 MNT and 2,500 validation nodes which can be staked for 10,000 MNT. These are minimum thresholds with no upper limit. It is important that there is no upper limit to ensure that stakers can improve their staking positions individually and collectively to reduce the burn ongoing and release more of the reward pool rewards as rewards. We have enabled delegated staking so people who cannot afford to secure their own node or who arrive after all nodes have been taken to participate in the node economy. This will again support all node stakers by providing another vehicle for locking down MNTs and keeping the free float tight. To effect delegated staking, we have decided to remove one validation node from private ownership and make it available for public staking. It will earn rewards in line with every other node, but with one major difference. A 50% burn will be applied to all rewards on the public node. So anyone considering staking can see that the ongoing rewards per staked MNT from owning nodes will always be twice the rewards from staking on the public node. Finally, we have allocated 37.5 million MNT to reward early node stakers across the first 24 months. These rewards are allocated per node, irrespective of any stake above the minimum threshold. This means that anyone holding a node for the first 24 months will receive 75% of their original stake in reward tokens. If any nodes remained unstaked during this period, the rewards they would have earned had they been staked will be burned. The rewards are not available to delegated stakers. In short, we believe we have created a model that rewards staking with a specific focus on benefiting node holders inside a commercially compelling business model. All right, back to you, Matthew.
Vladimir, thank you for the detailed overview of the tokenomics. We are now going to move on to 2 questions based on blockchain. The first question is from Callus B. Will you be supporting Cardano, and will we be able to move the NFT nodes from chain to chain, like from ETH to Base, or Cardano, or Polygon, etc.?
Yes, so we definitely will be multi-chain, but it will not be immediate. And the NFTs will be multi-chain as well.
Fantastic, thank you. We now have a question from Doji Nodes. Will you be supporting Base, Solana, and Avalanche?
Yes, absolutely. We will definitely be supporting Base and other chains in due course.
Fantastic, thank you, Vladimir. We have a question now from Fusion 509 regarding the burn. Regarding the burn rate of M&T reward tokens, would the percentage of burn rate be correlated to the number of nodes that are unstaked, meaning the rewards for the unstaked nodes are getting, if true then, the amount of remaining reward tokens for staked nodes would still be the same amount as when all the nodes are staked and no tokens are burned?
Yes, okay, so the burn rate reflects the proportion of total circulating supply that is unstaked at any moment of distribution and is only applicable to the 60% of the rewards distributed to the node holders.
Thank you, Vlad. We now have a question from Saltesh. Other than switch nodes and validation nodes, are there any other options to earn M&T?
Network rewards can also be earned by network users making and receiving calls that terminate through our network.
Fantastic. We now have a question from Uzor. How are delegation rewards distributed from the reward pool to delegators and node holders?
All right, Uzor. So delegators are allowed to stake on one public node only. That means the 3,000 node infrastructure remains unchanged. But one validation node is not in private hands. However, at each distribution, half the rewards allocated to the public node are burned before distribution. So node holders will earn twice the rewards per staked M&T versus delegated stakers. Delegated staking has no negative effect on node holders and supports a reduced burn by allowing more tokens to be staked.
Fantastic answer, Vlad. We now have a question from Rumi. Can you explain the efficiency decay which occurs if all nodes and most MNT are staked?
Yeah, so Rumi, after a lengthy internal discussion here, we have decided to remove the decay.
A second question from Rumi. Is the expense deducted from gross revenue includes the 15% fee for running nodes for us? Meaning gross revenue minus expenses includes the 15% node operation fee equals net revenue, or is it gross revenue minus expenses equal net revenue times 60% minus 15% node operation fee?
No, not at all, Rumi. Nothing is deducted from the rewards. All deductions occur before rewards are determined.
Fantastic. We have a question from Sebastian. The question is regarding M&T emissions and total supply. What will be the anticipated M&T circulating supply in the middle of 2025?
Okay, so ignoring any possible awards that may be made from the network expansion pool and disregarding any tokens being burned, the total circulating supply by mid-2025 is forecast to be in the range of 95 to 110 million MNT.
We now have a question from Joe Who 01. How will the tokens remaining after TGE be distributed during the 5-year period, and what is the 45.5% the net for network expansion? How exactly will these tokens expand our network, and where do they go, and what will happen to the amount received from them?
All right, so all tokens not issued at the TGE will be released algorithmically over 60 months. The network expansion pool exists to enable and reward new agreements that exponentially grow our user base or available traffic volumes or secure exchange listings. For the purposes of calculating the node staking reward burn, any tokens released from this pool but not yet allocated to a specific activity are excluded from our calculation of the total supply. All tokens released from this pool will also have the 60 months algorithmic release applied to them.
Fantastic, Vlad, thank you. We now have multiple questions around node ownership. The first question comes from Rob. Is node ownership tradable via an NFT? It seems there is a conflict of opinion that this was the case, but now has since changed.
Yes, Rob, node ownership will be tradable by NFT.
Question from Rich23W. If we own nodes now, are they generating rewards?
Well, rewards are already being generated for Epoch 1 distribution.
Question from JP Cube. Has Minutes reached out and offered any of these carriers an option to purchase nodes themselves?
Okay, JP, so carrier business models are complex and highly regulated. So we have no interest in complicating conversations with carriers. Their only role is to provide traffic to the network.
Question from LUV. To encourage people to buy more nodes, could the team not offer more information on how much they see nodes making per month?
Well, whilst we can't speak about the value of ongoing rewards, we are issuing a calculator which allows an individual staker to understand their likely rewards each epoch. Additionally, each node holder stands to receive 75% of their initial stakes in bonus tokens over the first 24 months and will always earn twice the rate of MNT staked by delegators.
We're now down to the final question around node ownership. The question is from Uzor. Could one validator node or one switch node replace an average income in the US after 12 months?
Well, unfortunately, Uzor, we cannot make any comments regarding the possible impact the rewards might generate or their value.
We will now move on to questions about rewards. The first question is from Callus B. What is the billing cycle for minutes terminated like? Are you receiving the revenue from the telcos for that services as earned, or is it billed monthly?
Okay, so billing cycles vary depending on the carrier, the traffic volume, and other factors. It can range from daily settlement to 90 days credit.
There's a question from Dodo. Please, can you clarify how you will turn Minutes Network net revenues into Minutes Network token rewards and explain how the process works?
All right, Dodo. So each epoch, net revenues are captured in real time and pooled. The funds are deposited into a smart contract, which will then randomly and algorithmically use those funds to buy MNT on the open market. So these purchases create the token reward pool. 60% of this token reward pool is then allocated for the benefit of node stakers, and it is 60% that is then subject to the algorithmic burn. The percentage of the staker rewards burned correlates to the percentage of the unstaked tokens of the total circulating supply. The remaining tokens are shared amongst token stakers, with each token staked receiving the same pro rata rewards.
Great answer, Vlad. We have a question from Crypto Life. Please can you explain better on how to calculate your rewards aspect on the website?
Yeah, sure. We are adding a calculator to the Explorer for this very purpose.
Question from Uzor. How are SMS and other revenue sources expected to be added to the reward pool? And what are those revenue forecasts over the next 5-year period?
Okay, yeah. So rewards will be added directly to the rewards pool. We have not yet commercialized the value potential to Minutes Network from these other sources. However, given the SMS market is worth in excess of 75 billion, they should bring significant additional revenues.
The final question around rewards is from BG. If I buy 3 validator nodes, how much monthly income will they generate?
Yeah, BG. So I'm sorry, we cannot give earning predictions. We can tell you that staking rewards are earned on a per staked token basis, with all staked tokens treated equally, though.
We will now answer a question regarding SMS from Dazkar. Could you clarify both switch node and validation nodes are able to earn from the SMS part of the business?
Yes, Dazkar, they will.
A question from Callus B. This is regarding staking. There are 3 or 4 staking questions. How does the staking process work for nodes and delegated stakers?
Okay, so the staking process for node holders and delegated stakers is exactly the same. All staking-based rewards are generated from the 60% of total rewards allocated for stakers. Whereas node holders will stake on their own nodes, we have set aside one validation node, which will be exclusively reserved to non-node holders to participate in the node staking economy.
Question from Uzor. Is there a maximum amount or percentage of tokens that can be delegated to a single node, switch, and validator? Fantastic. We have a question from Rob. As a node owner, will I receive 100% of the allocated early staking rewards, or will those who have staked to my node receive a proportion of these rewards too?
All right, Rob. So as a node owner, you will receive 100% of the early staking rewards for your node, as long as your minimum threshold stake remains in place of the 24 months distribution period.
We have a detailed question here from Kryptonite Hands. For investors, let's say they add value from marketing yes to a node and getting more passive income from the node than only the staked MNT, and that selling the node would have more also. Is there any benefit or motive to not have a node and having the 10k MNT value than just the tokens? If I have, for example, 15k MNT, I'll be able to stake only 10k MNT or the full 15k MNT, but only getting one node.
Nodes have advantages versus delegated stakers. Firstly, they participate in the early node staking reward and will share in the 37.5 million bonus tokens over the first 24 months. Secondly, a node holder earns rewards twice the reward per MNT staked versus delegators. And thirdly, if you had 15,000 tokens, it is more advantageous to stake them all on the single validation node. If you had 20,000 tokens, it is better to hold two validation nodes that stake all 20,000 on a single node. Because each node earns early staking rewards based on the node being staked and not the total stake on the node.
Another fantastic answer. We have a question from RW. What is the difference between the rewards of having a validation node as opposed to just staking 10k minutes network token?
All right, RW. All node holders will participate from the 37.5 million early node staking rewards over the first 24 months. Anyone taking up their entire allocation will receive a bonus of 75% of their original MNT staked. Delegated stakers do not benefit from these awards. Also, ongoing the reward per staked MNT on a privately held node is twice that of every token staked on the public node.
We have two questions from Soltesh. For validation node rewards, will there be vesting or can I claim rewards and they are free to sell?
Yes, of course, you are free to use your rewards as you like.
And will the rewards be calculated from day one of validation node staking?
Yes, revenue is already being allocated to be transformed into the Epoch 1 token reward pool.
We have a question from Ivan now regarding the TGE. So maybe this is a question for the next AMA, but how long do you plan to keep the TGE open? I expect there to be some sort of cutoff date just in case. What's the plan if no one buys month after month?
Yeah, Ivan, so the TGE will remain open until all tokens have been acquired.
We have a question from Rob regarding the Unity node. What linkage is there or is required between the Unity node and the MNT token?
All right, Rob, so for every minute consumed by the Unity node, 1 cent will be added to the MNT reward pool.
We have a question from Ibis. It sounds like a wallet is created for each phone number seen on the network and MNT passively sent. Does this mean it would be claimed rather than sent to a wallet, many of which may never be accessed? If claiming, are there more time constraints on when it has to be claimed by?
So user rewards will be made available to each number seen on the network and will remain claimable for a 60-month period. All rewards after the 60 months are burned and taken out of supply permanently.
Question from Bin Chicken. How will rewarding caller/receiver with MNT work? Is there a time limit for them to claim?
Yeah, so every call passing over the network has an originating number and receiving number. We record the values of each call and attribute this to both the originator and the receiver pools. At the end of each epoch, the token rewards for callers and receivers are allocated to each number according to their contribution to the total value of this traffic passed. There's a 60-month limit for users claiming tokens, but all unclaimed tokens are excluded from the total circulating supply calculation used to determine the burn.
Another question from Bin Chicken. Will we be able to link a wallet to shifting service numbers, i.e. MIs, over time?
Yes, no issue at all.
Fantastic, thank you. We have a question from Uzor. How will network users be notified of the wallet created for them after their first Minutes Network terminated call? And how will they access it?
Yeah, Uzor. So users will learn about the rewards via word of mouth and our retail app, which is why we allow 60 months for any user rewards to be claimed. They can access the rewards via the token portal by registering their phone number.
We're down to the last two questions from the community. The first question comes from John Smith, and it's regarding the white paper. So Vlad, could you please tell us all, when will the white paper be released?
Well, John, the white paper is out now and available on minutesnetworktoken.io.
Super. And the final question comes from Casper. Is there any news on the airdrop for WMT owners?
Yeah, Casper, we already announced the airdrop last month. There's been a huge response from the WMT holders joining the whitelist. And we will be advising shortly on how these tokens are being released to your wallets.
Vlad, thank you for answering all those questions today. I know there is something more that you'd like to say.
Yes, guys. So having addressed all the current questions directly, we would like to note, on top of everything we have said today, we are making two further adjustments in favor of stakers. Firstly, 10% of the reward pool is being removed from users and will be allocated to note holders only. These rewards will not be provided to public stakers. Secondly, we're revising the construction of the burn calculation to reduce its impact by half. The white paper and tokenomics documents will be updated presently to reflect these changes. Thank you very much, guys. Welcome.
Thank you for listening to today's Token AMA session. Your time is greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for more updates in the coming days. There will be an additional Token AMA on the 4th of September. So don't forget, every minute counts.